Hello, everyone. This is News Now from the Belmont Journal in our weekly segment with Franklin Tucker, editor of the Belmontonian. And I'm your host, Mike Crowley. Today, first, let's get an update on special town meeting, which is coming up, I believe, the end of November. Franklin?
Yes, we will have a special town meeting. It was established back when we had the town meeting that we probably need one, and it was for the leaf blower bylaw. And now we have 12 other articles that we're going to decide.
All right, so the original plan was leaf blowers, but we now have a full 3 days.
That's right. And it's a lot of it has to do with establishing funds like stabilization funds for capital projects.
Okay.
And a stabilization fund is like a rainy day fund. You put that in there. You can basically, what they're going to do is they're going to take free cash, and I guess we've had a record amount of free cash this year. I guess it was certified this week, but we still don't have.
We still don't have the number.
Right. That will. So what they're going to do is, rather than in the past when we would just leave free cash into the free cash account and then use it at the very end of the budget process, what they're going to do, what the town would like to do, is establish a stabilization fund for these capital projects, and just keep putting money into it. So which is a more disciplined way of making sure that the capital projects in town are funded.
Okay.
It's just something that should have been done 30, 40 years ago when everybody else was doing it.
All right, Franklin, anything else noteworthy among those?
Yes, very noteworthy is going to be Article 9, and it could be the most contentious of the articles at special town meeting, and it's the whether the treasurer is going to be elected or appointed. That will have to go through. That will have to be approved if we go forward with a appointed treasurer, and even then, it will have to then be accepted or approved by the general by the town election, by the voters in the town election in April.
It will. So let's be clear about this. If the current town treasurer, Floyd Carman, were to decide to run for re-election this coming April, what would happen if town meeting passed this bylaw?
Well, I think the practical thing is if Floyd, who is Mr. Carman, who is very popular in town, if he decided he was going to seek re-election, this article would just die on the vine. No one would go forward with it. But if he doesn't, what can happen is that people can run for the the treasurer's position. But if the town approves it, let's say they approve it in the special town meeting, and then the voters approve of a hired or appointed treasurer, that person, even if that person is voted in by the residents, he or she would then only be they would only be treasurer until the town selects a treasurer, which would be maybe 3 or 4 months down the line.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else that town should know about with respect to special town meeting?
There's a lot. There's like I said, the leaf blower bylaw. That is pretty much. There's been a compromise where the town will seek only electric leaf blowers and lawnmowers for commercial businesses, like a small business, a landscaping business. I believe it is. I think it's 5 years after the vote. So that should go through pretty. That should go through. It still there'll be somewhat of a contentious thing.
So Franklin, it's a transition period of 5 years. So the leaf blowers that the lawn service companies that show up on my street will still be using their blowers for at least a few years, even if town meeting approves the change in the bylaw.
That's right.
Okay.
I don't know if it's actually 5 years. I think it's like 3 or 5.
Okay.
It's a short period of time.
All right. All right. So we'll look forward to special town meeting. And Franklin, do you have some news about our town administrator?
That's right. Patrice Garvin received her annual review, and she did very well.
Okay.
She out of a possible five. Well, first of all, it was the select board who rated her on a large number of issues, whether it's performance or let me just see, leadership, performance, fiscal responsibility, and she came out with out of a five maximum, she came out with a 4.667. So it shows that the select board really felt that she is somebody who is doing a great job. As Adam Dash said, she's a great town administrator, and Belmont would be worse off without her. And with that, she got a 2.5% merit increase, which is the same that the fire chief and the police chief received. And on top of her cost of living adjustment, which goes back to July 1st,
Okay.
she is now receiving $202.1 thousand, or $202,156.
All right. I understand, Franklin, that the Belmont Hill School, which there's been some controversy about plans to convert a few homes and some wooded acreage near the campus. What can you tell us about what's happening there?
Well, it's not a surprise. I mean, the Belmont Hill School has been going out to the neighborhood and to other people in that area, telling them a bit what they want to do with it. At last week's planning board, they came out with their detailed plan, which they're going to present to the town, and they're looking for a site review. So they did, just as you would expect, they did a very professional job. Their presentation was exactly 1 hour.
Okay.
They just had that just perfect. And what they're going to do is basically it's more of a parking plan. Because they're going to be adding parking behind their athletic center, which is now just a very small parking area. They're going to be revamping their central, in front of their administrative building out front, outside the circle, the traffic circle. That's going to be more of a pickup and drop off point for buses, and less of a parking space. And then there is this new parking space, which will be up near Prospect Street. It will be it'll be there for faculty and students. It will also be a place where 3 of those homes that they bought will now become faculty housing. And in 5 years, they're going to have a small, I would say, facilities area where they're going to put all their, lawnmowers and things like that. And it will also have an above ground, or they're seeking an above ground fuel tanks.
Okay.
So a little bit of a return of fuel tanks to a development issue, but that will be in 5 years from now. This will not be done as soon as next year, which they would like to do. Okay,
so Franklin, not everyone in town is happy about the plan. So I do want to ask you about next steps. What happens next?
Well, they go back to the planning board. Planning board is going to have a site review. They're going to go through it with a fine tooth comb. But you look at the Belmont Hill plan. It's made by a very, very well known professional developing firm, and it really looks like they did their homework. They noted each and every bylaw which they have to apply for, which they're going to be rules over this area, and they stay within the area. I think they're looking for just one exception, and that's a minor one. So it looks like they've done their work. They've taken about basically a year to advise people what they're going to do. So this isn't something that's dropped out of the sky onto the neighborhood. People know what's happening, and you will see very contentious. Some people are going to be very contentious. No one wants to have a parking lot next to their $2 million house, but they bought the property from willing sellers, and they're a willing buyer. So there's not much you can do as long as they stay within the bylaws.
All right, Franklin. So next I want to ask you about updates to if we have any updates with respect to the skating rink. I know there was another public forum this week, but I think you might have some other news for us.
Right. Well, the first thing you should know is that the 2 days before the public meeting, there was the building committee of the municipal skating rink. And they like to really call themselves a municipal facility. It's not just a skating rink. It's locker rooms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So they came before the select board and asked for additional funds, and the additional funds was going to be for to allow the architect to continue to pay his subcontractors, so they can continue the work up until November, when the debt exclusion vote is going to take place. Now, their view is that let's continue this. Let's not stop at the end of September and then try to revamp another month. Give us some extra money, which was $150,000, and that came from the American Rescue Plan.
Okay. And
they said this is just a wise way of doing it. And the select board thought, you're right. Let's not stop this process. So when we do have these funds, let's put that in there. It's short money, let's say, but this is the second time they've come before the select board to seek money and receiving it. So after that, it's they continue to work with. They made a presentation about the parking, and that's just basically with a jug handle and putting about a little more than 40 spaces into that area. What you didn't hear from them is a solid number. What would be the cost of the rink? They promised, I think back in August, that this would be the meeting that they would give a number, but they still don't have a really hard. They didn't nail everything down by this meeting, and so we still have the big range in what the rink would cost, between $32 to $27 million.
Okay.
But they said, within a week of 10 days after the meeting, they should have a better feel for what that figure is going to be.
All right. We'll look forward to an update on that. And thank you, Franklin, for the updates. If you'd like to see more of Franklin's reporting, be sure to visit Belmontonian.com. That's all for next week, and we will talk with you next time.
In front of people.
Obviously cutting out that long pause at the end, but other than that,
oh, good. I'm sorry we put you